Scrolling through my settings, checking everything's all good to go.
Alright, so we've got Manu and Mon here. You guys are part of our mapping team. Each reef you're doing 3 dives and 2 snorkels, yeah? So let's start with the dives. What's the purpose of the 3 dives?
Well, the idea is that we want to cover different habitats. So we need to do a diving and snorkel because you get the shallow, the lagoons, the different habitats, and then you get the different contours of the reef that we need to do snorkel diving. So for each of them, we just take buoy and we take a camera and we take about an image every meter or every 2 meters, and those images are referenced because we have a GPS on the top of the buoy. And that set of GPS is capture the LUTs and LUNs of the location, and then because it's synced with the time with the camera, then we managed to actually put them together. So every single image has the information where it was taken.
You dive each side of the reef as well though, yeah? So do you find differences from the outside to the inshore side?
The main purpose is trying to understand the composition of the reef. So by satellite image we cannot see enough. Certainly we cannot see enough in the slopes, and so what we want to is to actually locate each of our dive to actually have a good representation of what actually is in there and how different it is from the different flanks of the reef. So normally, traditionally the wave action modifies a lot of the communities. Some reef or some corals can live in there, some other organisms can live in high energy environments, but some others they certainly need that sort of like protected and more sheltered environment. So we want to actually use wave action as a proxy of how different the reef composition is, and then trying to relate that to the satellite images and trying to model the entire reef system, as into trying to identify the different bits for the entire reef. We use the diving data to actually model the composition of the reef all around the rim of the outer reef.
Yeah, so that's the reason why we try and dive on all the different flanks of the reef. So we prefer to have the outer reef, which has a lot of wave energy, often slopes down, has a lot of smaller corals, very compressed corals. The back reef, which is more sheltered, has often the branching or the staghorns, the plate corals, the large Porides bommies, so it's very, very different.
And the problem with that is that you find a lot of these reefs that have been, or the corals that have been dead, they are covered in algae quite substantially, so there's very dense and tall turf algae, and that turf algae most of the time prevent coral from recovering. So because those reefs are closer to land, they are more productive. So we're yet to see how this reef will recover and whether they recover at the same pace that we'll see in the reefs that are affecting the offshore.
I think it's important as well to mention how far do you guys swim in a day?
On average, we swim about 3 kilometers a day. So that is about 1.8 kilometers diving out on the reefs and about 1.2 kilometers snorkeling on the reef flats and the crests. And we take about, on average, 5,000 to 6,000 pictures during those 3 kilometers. And the importance of this is as well, if you think about when you go on land, we have maps for every single road, forest, part of the country, but there is not one map of the reef. And that's what we're trying to do, try and map the Great Barrier Reef